Hello Shotcut users, and welcome to another tutorial. Today, I will show you how to create whip pan transitions, also known as motion blur transitions. I am using Shotcut version 21.12.24, and the video mode is set to 1080p, at 24 frames per second. In the timeline, I have already imported two video clips on track V1. We will start by making a cut at half a second from the end of the left clip. In my case, since my project is at 24 frames per second, half a second represents 12 frames. So I will use the spin box of the timecode counter, and go back 12 frames. Select the clip, and make a cut at the position of the playhead. Let's call this new clip A. Make a cut at half a second from the start of the right clip. And let's call this one B. Move the playhead to the first frame of clip A. Then, move it again one frame to the right. To make the next step easier, zoom the timeline on clip B. Grab clip B, and drag it to the position of the playhead. This creates a transition between clip A and clip B, and all the action of this effect will take place inside the transition. We will add 4 filters to the transition now, and it is important that you add them in the same order as I do. Select the transition. Go to the Filters panel. Add a size, position and rotate filter. Add a no sync filter. Add another size, position and rotate filter. And, finally, add a blur box filter. Let's deactivate these 3 filters for a moment, and talk about the no sync filter. Even if in appearance, it is a pretty basic filter, it is nonetheless the star of the show. Its only purpose as a filter is to make the image roll vertically on the screen. It can be used, for example, to simulate what was called a V-hold malfunction on old CRT television sets. But of course, we don't want our transition to travel vertically. We need horizontal movement. That's why we also use 2 size, position and rotate filters. By the way, from now on, I will refer to them as SPR filters. Select the first SPR filter. Go to the viewer pane, grab the rotation handle, and move it anti-clockwise, until it snaps to the 270 degrees value. If I select the no sync filter and change the offset value, you can see that the image rolls the right way, but still vertically. Let's fix this. Select the second SPR filter. Grab the rotation handle in the viewer pane, and move it clockwise, until it snaps to the 90 degrees value. Now the image moves in the right direction, and is back to the horizontal orientation. But it no longer fills the screen horizontally. We need to stretch it. Select the second SPR filter again, and set the size mode to distort. Then, set the width to about twice its value. My project is 1920 pixels wide. 1920 times 2 equals 3840. But let's round it down to 3800 pixels. Activate the 2x2 grid. Grab the position handle in the preview pane, and drag it until it snaps to the intersection of the 2 grid lines. Increase the zoom of the keyframes panel. Now, make sure the playhead is at the first frame of the transition, and select the No Sync filter. Move the offset slider to 0%, and click the keyframe button. A keyframe is automatically added at that position. Click the Seek Forwards button to move the playhead to the last frame of the transition, and move the offset slider to 100%. Another keyframe is added. As you can see, the transition moves from left to right. If you want it to move from right to left, set the offset at 100% on the first frame, and 0% on the last frame. Finally, select the Blur Box filter. Set the height to 0 pixel, and the width to 99 pixels. And we are done. Let's look at the result. That's nice. But we can also make the images pass more than one time in the transition. Let's rewind and start again. Repeat the same steps we used before, but this time, clip A and B needs to be a bit longer than half a second. In my 24 frames per second example, I will make them 16 frames long instead of 12. As we did before, create the transition. Then, add the 4 filters. Select the first SPR filter and rotate the clip to 270 degrees. Select the second SPR filter, rotate to 90 degrees. Set the size mode to distort, and double the width. Select the No Sync filter. Make sure the playhead is at the first frame of the transition. Set the offset value to 0. Click the keyframe button. Increase the zoom of the keyframes panel. Move the playhead to the middle of the transition. Set the offset value to 100. Move the playhead 1 frame forward. Set the offset value to 0. Click the Seek Forwards button to move the playhead to the last frame of the transition. Set the offset value to 100. Finally, select the Blur Box filter. Set the height to 0 pixel and the width to 99 pixels. Here's the result. You can of course make as many passes as you want. Just remember to slightly increase the length of clips A and B for each pass you add to the transition. Here's another example, with 3 passes. I hope this tutorial was useful to you. If it was, please hit the like button and leave a comment. This is always appreciated and it helps the channel. And of course, if you don't want to miss my next tutorials, make sure you hit the subscribe and notification buttons. Thank you for watching.